Hello, I'm Robin Vincent and welcome to Molten Modular. Today we're going to stick a Moog Mother 32 into a proper Eurorack case. Now if you've been following my journey you'll know that the Mother 32 was the first sort of semi-modular synthesizer that I got hold of and kind of kicked off this whole cascade of madness into the world of modular. And although I love the sound, I love what this taught me, I love the sort of things you can get out of it, I've always been in two minds about its place in my modular rack over here because it's huge. It's always going to take up a whole load of space, and I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing because I'm really now interested in individual modules, and that's what I want to explore. And so it takes up so much real estate, this single thing here, that it just makes me wonder whether I should just let this go and concentrate on individual modules. I think it's a question that a lot of users of the Mother 32 encounter. The problem became that my indecision about it was kind of preventing me from moving on, and so I've made the decision. I'm going to incorporate this into a bigger case to make it a proper part of my Eurorack. Then I can stop fussing and fiddling about and get on with developing my second row. Oh yes, it's time for that second row. That sort of difficult, complicated second row that you're not really quite sure whether you should do or not, and do you build on the excitement of the first one, and is it the same, or are you suddenly sort of twisted up with artistic and creative differences and not entirely sure which direction to go in? That kind of second row. And I'll be making a video all about my second row choices right after this one to see what I can squeeze in alongside the Mother 32. So do go and check that out. But for now, we're going to focus on taking this thing apart, sticking it in this box. Let's do that. As with all my videos, I'm not coming at this from some kind of massive place of experience. I haven't installed 50 Mother 32s into cases and are now showing you all the things that I've learnt along that journey. No, I've never done this before in my life. I am going to stumble on in there like some kind of newbie that I am, just to demonstrate how that might work. Or not. We'll discover it along the way, together. That's the plan. So I reckon these screws should go. That's got to be a good place to start. I mean, I'm assuming it goes without mention that it shouldn't be plugged into power when doing this kind of thing. I'm not responsible for your health and safety. Maybe before we go any further, it'd be a good idea to have a quick look at the manual. Well, yes, there is this little bit here about installing into a Eurorack module, and really all it says is take out the 8 screws, which is what I'm doing at the moment, lift it out, disconnect the cables, and then connect it up as shown. That all sounds very easy. One could, of course, use some kind of electronic screwdriver, but I prefer the analog feel of something more traditional. Right, let's see if we can pull this out without pulling the knobs off. Ooh. Okay, inside it's connected by 2 cables. You see that? One on the left, one on the right, which I will endeavour to remove. Like so, it's out. Look at that. It's really very, very shallow. Perfect for any sort of skiff. It's very, very skiff friendly. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a lot more gubbings on the back. But there you go. That's the fella. Just that. Now the important connection on the back is going to be this one here, which is the Eurorack power connection. So I'm going to need a ribbon cable that goes from here to the ribbon power bus. What's it inside my new case? Now, do I have one of those? Well, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't come with it, so I'm going to have to root around to see if I've got a spare one. This is also a Moog case, just like the first one. The idea is that I'm going to put it into a 2-tier stack, maybe even 3 tiers in the future, but for the moment, 2 tiers I think is going to be plenty. So this should sit in there perfectly. But look at all the room it takes up. I don't know, it does my head in. It's a beautiful thing, this Moog Mother 32, but it does take up all this space. You know, I've only got this much left for more modules. Oh, it's frustrating and yet beautiful, and yet this is awesome because it's a complete synth voice. It's got a sequencer, it's got all this stuff going on in it, but it just eats up so much room. Oh, weighing it up, weighing it up. The other question is, of course, do you put it on the left? Do you put it on the right? Does it sit better over here? Then put different modules in here. For some reason it looks like there's more space on that side, which is obviously an optical illusion. I'm inclined to keep it on the left because I have gone with oscillators on the left for no explored reason, and also because of this, if that's all the way over to the right, it means that every cable is going to have to go across it, whereas here it can, you know, it can spread out to different points on the Eurorack without dragging cables over everything. So that seems to be the best place for it, in my view. Right, I've got to find that cable now. Now, what I've found with my Moog 104HP Eurorack case is that I get this cable. This is the 10-pin, 16-pin ribbon power cable. That is absolutely ideal for the Mother 32, I believe. That's handy. Let's plug that in. Now, you've got to look to see where the stripe is. It says the stripe is there. That's the stripe. That's that way up. That should be the stripe. Stripe here, pin stripe. That should be how that goes. And next, I need to plug this into the power bus here. Make sure it's also the right way round. Red line, red line. It can only fit in one way. That's plugged in. Now, to mount it in the case, I'm going to need to line up these holes here with some of the sliding rack nuts here. In the Moog case, it is all sliding rack nuts, which is very convenient, but also very tricky if you're trying to install something like this. So we're going to have to attempt to line it up like so on both the top and the bottom. And that sits about right. Now, I use these fantastic knurlies from Befacco. They're just the best thing ever. I mean, it's a little bit extravagant. You spend a little bit of money on some screws, but they are awesome. And they make the whole moving things around in your rack so much easier. Okay, that's in. I'm going to slide it all the way to the side. And tighten it up. There we go. Now, does it work? Good question. Let's take the power out of my other rack. Plug that in. Yeah, it appears to. Let's see if I can make it make some sound. Yes, it certainly does. And you know, one thing you need to know is that on the case of the original Moog Mother 32, you have this lovely audio output here, so you can treat it like a normal synthesizer. That's great. Well, what do you do when it's in your Eurorack? Well, the output you need, at least I think, so far, is the VCA output here, the amplifier output. That is the one that will give you your sound, or at least the resultant sound. There are other things you can use. That's the pulse output. That's the saw output. And the noise output, which is a whole different thing. So you can have the individual oscillations, bits and pieces coming out of different holes over here. Or if you want the whole thing, just plug into the VCA. See, I'm already excited about that because it's a great synth. This is an awesome synth and I want it in there. I'm just still marginally upset about this little space, how small this space is and how it's going to probably push me into a third row far quicker than I imagined I would need to. However, there you go, Mother 32 into a Eurorack case, job done. Now check out my next video, which is going to be filling this tiny space here with a couple of new modules. So look out for that. And in the meantime, go and make some tunes.